This is 10 minutes to 5 in the morning, GMT, London, Sunday, the 9th of August 2020. This edition is part 4 of our introduction, contextual introduction to the poetry of Qazi Nazrul Islam. And it's in the context of the migrant crisis facing the Boris Johnson government and the actual reason for the migrants to leave their countries. And the poem that Nazrul wrote called Poverty. He daridro tumi more korecho mahan, tumi more daniacho Krishter সম্মান. This is the poem that the like of which has not been seen in any other language or in the Bangla language, which Nazrul specialized in and wrote in. O poverty, you have given me the honor of Christ. Now, Nazrul was a Muslim, not a Christian, but he was using the metaphor of the Christians' narratives, and the Christians were the ruling elite in the country when he was writing that poem. He daridro, tumi more korecho mahan, tumi more daniacho Krishter সম্মান. So the honor of Christ is an honor that is used as a metaphor by the Christians or believers in Christianity. And it doesn't matter which sect of Christianity, all the Christians are assumed to have the same attitude of reverence to Jesus Christ. But of course, Nazrul was not writing about faith. He was writing about the abuse and non-use or misuse of the message of faith against poverty. And this is something that the national poet of Bangladesh has written, but he is never actually being cited in Bangladesh, which is still one of the world's poorest countries, one of the countries in the world on the list of poor countries, which has got a large number of people in poverty. And what we are going to do is to look at the origins of the people who come to the UK, Britain, from Bangladesh, or came to Britain in previous generations from what is now Bangladesh was Pakistan, and then before then it was part of the British Raj in the subcontinent, including the territories that include Bangladesh today and India and Pakistan today. So the people who came to Britain and still want to come to Britain want to do that and came for one main reason: to escape poverty and to avoid poverty and to be able to afford not only daily meals but also to have a proper shelter and house. And when they came to this country, first wave or the first generations of the people from Bangladesh who came to the UK did so as part of the seafaring kind of generations, people who were employed on ships. And many of them came ashore and they didn't actually leave. And some escaped and some stayed and overstayed. And that is how it began. Most of them, the large numbers, were coming to Britain in unconventional ways. But in those days, when 1947, before the 1947, they didn't need any visa, they didn't need any passport, they didn't need anything like passport or visa or entry certificate or entry clearance or whatever, things that have become introduced subsequently. They came as British Raj or Empire, British Indian nationals. And so therefore there was no known case or cases of deporting them anywhere because they came to one part of the empire from another part of the empire. But essentially, the motivation was to escape poverty at home. And those who managed to stay in Britain, most of them stayed in London and some in other port city areas like Liverpool and others, but the majority stayed in London. So we'll be talking about that in the main substantive part in a few minutes.